Hello everyone, my name is Avalon and we are playing a Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time randomizer. We're just making our way into Great Jabby Jabby's belly, although we don't have the boomerang, so, you know, I'm not sure how far we're going to get. We will have to wait and see. Last time I started talking about 3D, well I was supposed to talk about 3D and 2D games, and about how I felt about, you know, why both were good ways to present Metroidvanias, and I just got on to a conversation about dungeons again, having already spoken about dungeons once. So sorry about that, I guess. I don't know what what came over me. But so this time I'm gonna start by talking about 2D 2D platformers and the advantages they bring. Or not 2D platformers, sorry, 2D Metroidvanias and the advantages they bring. And clearly, I feel that the platforming that they offer you is definitely an advantage. And you know, there's so many 2D platformer games that have Metroidvania-esque sort of styles to them that you know, you don't need me to explain how great they can be for platformers. Look at, for example, and I know I bang on about it a lot, but Hollow Knight, or Ori and the Blind Forest, where both are so focused on their action platforming style, to the point where Ori doesn't even make you fight, it doesn't really give you combat to worry about, it's just here's some platforms, go have some fun. There is combat, but you don't need to think about it too much. It's been so long since I've been inside the Great Lord Jabby Jabby that I'm actually struggling to remember where to go. Okay, that's the heavy switch. And the other one is the weighted switch, isn't it? So I need Princess Ruto. Another tendril thing. Cool. Yeah, so, you know, and since last time I was banging on about dungeons in 2D, let's bang about some dungeons in the 2D world as well. And it is, you know, there is a lot of cool stuff that goes on in a lot of different 2D and 3D games. I always love throwing Princess Ruto at enemies. She makes such a weird noise, though. They should give you bonuses for that. So, you know, since we're playing a Zelda game, we will talk about a Zelda dungeon. And... this is so weird. You know, I feel like I know this game like the back of my hand, and yet I'm actually really not remembering anything from this dungeon. Oh god, okay. Deku seeds, nice. Yeah, so 2D dungeons, it gives you, you know, they have the advantage of having all of these, like, challenging platforming sections, and I'll be honest, I'm struggling to think of a decent example. You know, I've spoken about Hollow Knight dungeons before and how I don't really feel like they are set up like normal dungeons would be, but I suppose the Palace of the White King is kind of dungeon-esque-ish, or you could say it's dungeony anyway. I'm just trying to think, is one of these... I have a feeling I'm going to make a terrible mistake soon, where I'm going to get myself soft-locked. If I'm not careful. No, they would have thought about that as game development, game design. Sure, they would have thought that someone might have Ruto and not the boomerang, because you can get her without the boomerang. Surely. Surely. I feel a reset on the horizon. Right. Bada-bing. better. But yeah, so yeah, you get all the cool platforming stuff in 2D. I mean, I appreciate it's not strictly Metroidvania, but if you think about Mario games, for example, you know, the 3D platforming ones, like Mario 64, don't get me wrong, they were good, but the platforming is significantly less tight, and that's because you're trying to combat the camera angle at the same time as trying to deal with the platforms. So they had to make adjustments for that. What? Why can't I get her? What? And now she's just gone. What happened to Bruto? I bet she's gone all the way back to the start, hasn't she? What a nightmare. Yeah, and so yeah, you can focus more on the platforming, less on the layout of the land, and having to work out, you know, what you're going to do in certain positions and what you're not going to do in other positions and whatnot. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that at all. You know, it is just one of the problems with dealing with a 3D environment. I mean, like, take this game that I'm playing now, for example. I can't tell exactly how far something is in front of me. The depth perception just isn't spot on. It's good, don't get me wrong, they've done a great job of it, but it's not perfect by any means. Okay, so that's good. I didn't get soft locked. I'm really not sure where I'm going to go next, to be honest. I don't remember where half of the things are. Ah, well, we'll work it out. Okay, so I'll drop down here. There's so many Scortulas in this place as well. Take Ruto with me through this door. Oh, again, you need the boomerang. I think we're done. I think we've done everything we can do in this dungeon for the time being. Which is a problem. Still haven't got the prelude light, have I? So don't want to go there. What warp songs have I got? Oh, only the 2. That's a pain. Okay, well, we'll do the Serenade of Water. We'll go to Lake Hylia, take the owl to Kakariko, and then depending if it's day or night, we'll either go to Lon Lon to get the Skulltula, or we'll go and become an adult. We'll go do the Fire Temple, I guess. Give that a try. I think I picked up the tunic by now. Yeah, I did. Cool. Super. I'm gonna go from there. We'll see what happens. Cool. Not a successful trip to Lord Jabu's belly. But yeah, so, you know, 2D, whether it's top-down 2D or side-on 2D, there's just a lot of advantages to both formats. And also, obviously, a lot of disadvantages to both formats as well. And that's just, you know, that's just how the game goes, unfortunately. I'm not gonna grab his talons. Okay. It's just how it is sometimes, you know. There's always going to be advantages and disadvantages to different things, and I just feel like the combat in 3D games is sometimes a bit lacking. This game is one example of that, where there's a lot of waiting in combat, which is always a pain. But I mean, I understand they've got to do what they've got to do. They can't just magic. You know, they can't just magic up some perfect combat that works. I mean, especially in this game, is very early on in the world. But it's just so much waiting. You know, everything has its guard up. Like when I was fighting the Stalfos the other episode, for example, they've got their shields up for ages. And you can't do anything to them until they drop their guard. It's just very difficult, and that's one of the issues I actually have with Dark Souls, as it happens, is it's just too defensive. You're spending too much time waiting for openings instead of just going, which is why Shadow Die Twice is a lot better in my opinion. It's much more aggressive. There's a lot more player agency into what you do, which I appreciate. That was a huge tangent. I'm so sorry about these tangents. I seem to go on so many of them. But yeah, so 2D Metroidvanias, you know, you can use that to have more verticality to the map. So if you imagine, you know, we talk about how this game... Oh, I need to do this. We talk about how this game has verticality in its dungeons, in the sense that, for example, the Great Deku Tree, you have to work out where you are, up, down. And in other dungeons... Where's that one? Oh, it's way up there. I need the boomerang. Yeah, you know, so other dungeons... you know, we talk. Sorry, I've completely gone off and lost my thought there. That's Scortula. I forgot it was even there, if I'm honest, and it's completely thrown my thoughts. So, I was talking about. There we go. I was talking about verticality in dungeons and stuff, and you know, it does work. The Great Deku Tree clearly shows that you can have that verticality, but it needed to be set up within the rules of the world, which is quite a big deal. If you think about if they just randomly had a dungeon that's suddenly vertical and it made no sense, then it wouldn't work. So, for example, the Forest Temple that's framed to be like a mansion, it wouldn't work to have this massive verticality. It doesn't make sense logically. And the world especially doesn't make sense to have much verticality. I mean, we've got a mountain and we've got the bottom of a well and the bottom of a lake, but outside of those two things, having any sort of like verticality doesn't make sense. I mean, even if you look at Twilight Princess, which added some verticality to its overworld in the sky place, I can't think of what it's called. But where you get the double hook shot, and you know, so you go there and stuff, and it's cool. But you have to go through some weird cannon to get up there, and it doesn't really feel like it fits in with the world. So it's really challenging. Whereas if you have a 2D game, and I'm going to use the various Metroid games as an example here, you can have that verticality. You set it in an environment that makes sense. It has caves, it has above ground, whatever. And you can have the verticality with no issue at all. Whereas if you have, like we've discussed, if you have the, if I had this city, for example, you could have multiple layers of city, but you wouldn't be able to just like jump up a couple of platforms to get to the next point, because it wouldn't make sense in the context of the world. By removing that dimension, you give the game designer that extra little bit of choice, because if you think about it in Hollow Knight, there's a random platform floating somewhere. Is it floating somewhere, or is it that we don't have the perspective to see where it's attached to, you know? Not that I'm against floating platforms in video games. You can absolutely have floating platforms in video games. No issue with that at all. It's just, you know, it's harder for them to to do it in that sense. Oh, I forgot that was even a thing. Oh, I do have the iron boots. Oh, then why am I not doing the water temple? Because I haven't got the hook shot. That's why I'm not doing the water temple. I remember now. So where was the fire temple? That is the question. And did I go and do the fairy fountain in the desert? I'm gonna do that, actually. Oh, I haven't got a prelude of light. Oh. So you can actually set the game up to start you with things like the prelude of light and stuff, and I'm really regretting not doing that now. But hey ho, life persists. Let's go. Where is the forest temple? I can't remember where the forest temple is, which is a nightmare. I'm kind of guessing that it's in the spirit temple. Where was the spirit temple, actually? Because I could do the child part. I still haven't got the boomerang, but I could do part of the child bit. And I feel like I should visit the Great Fairies as an adult as well. Okay, so this is the fire temple now, isn't that? Let's take a quick look at the map. Okay, so... Oh yeah, we ran out of keys, didn't we, if I remember rightly? Do I remember rightly? Right, we'll go this side first because it's shorter. I'm sure I've done this before. So that was this Goron, and that key, so that's that fine. Can't make that jump. Oh, there's that place actually in Goron Village, isn't there? Where you have to... Well, you need the hook shot again. Oh, man. I'm so lost. Yeah, so back to what I was saying. I just feel like the verticality options you get in a 2D game are a pretty big deal. And they can be used to make a lot more sense than what you can in a 3D game. Not again, you know, I'm not saying it's a hard rule. The game I was talking about the other day, Dream Watcher, that had some verticality in it. I know what I need to do now. I need the Megaton Hammer to proceed in this dungeon. So I need to break open this, get the key that's going to be in there, which will let me get into the top floor of the dungeon. That's what needs to happen. Mystery solved. Haven't got the Song of Storms, so I can't open up that. I'm so lost. I can't think of anything that I haven't done yet. I obviously didn't go to the Great Fairy Fountain though, so maybe I could do that. I've still failed to talk about 2D platformers enough, in my opinion. You know, I came in with this intention to do so, and I just not. Just dodge with them, make my way in here. Super. Right, cool. Yeah, so... But I guess my point of the past 2 episodes has been that I don't agree that either style of game is better. You know, they both have their advantages, they both have their disadvantages. But I like the verticality that can be created in 2D games. Like, imagine if Hollow Knight was 3D and how much more horizontal world they would have needed to build, because you've got to remember as well that if you build in 2D, you have to make a consideration for that in your initial design. Your whole design philosophy has to be built around the idea that you are building that way. I'm never going to be able to backwards do this, am I? I wonder if I looked up a map if I could work it out. No, it's not going to happen. Oh, it's going to take me so long to die as well. Okay, I might do a console reset. Such good music. Such good music. But yeah, you have to incorporate your whole design philosophy around what dimension of game you're going to be building. And like, that's not... I'm not saying that's a problem again, but, you know, like I said, using Hollow Knight as the example, they were able to plan their map with verticality. How different would that game have been if they were forced to plan it, you know, with more horizontal world in there? How different would their game have actually been? It's just an interesting set of questions that I think are worth considering. But maybe that's just me. I mean, I guess the best example I have of what I'm trying to explain is if you think about Hyrule Field in this game, you know, it's huge. I haven't got the hook shot still. Why do I keep forgetting? I haven't got the hook shot. Honestly. God, I really lost myself for a second there in just pure rage. And my stupidity. But yeah, think about Hyrule Field and how much space that takes up in the horizontal plane, and how much had to be designed there. Now, don't get me wrong, I know that Hyrule Field is empty, and I know that that's something that people always bring up because they're so smart, and insulting a game that is old as time is super trendy, and you know, only the bravest people would ever insult such a game. But you know, and I'm not saying it's not empty. To be clear, I completely agree with the criticism. I'm just saying consider the age of the game. But yeah, like, it's just a massive horizontal world that you need to traverse. Now think about that in Hollow Knight and how that would change places like, for example, the City of Tears, and how that would yeah, so it changes like places like the City of Tears, and how that would adjust how much time had to go into those worlds and what would have to be sacrificed in order to make it work. You know, how would the Watcher Knight fight work if they can bounce at you from every direction? And I appreciate, like I said, when you decide what perspective or dimension your game's going to be in, you consider all of this stuff. You know, if you have a boss that you've got working in 2D and then you suddenly decide to switch your game into 3D, then I think you've got bigger development issues than simply the changing of that boss, because it just changes so much about the game when you change your dimensions. So I'm aware that they didn't like create a 3D Watcher Knight and then have to change it or whatever. But it's just an interesting concept that, you know, just an interesting way to think about things. You know, how much of that game would have had to change? Would it have been as good if it was in 3D? But then you take, for example, Ocarina, or the style of 2D that Zelda games take with the overhead, and how much more horizontal world they have, but how much verticality they lose. Like, think about the dungeons in, for example, Link to the Past. They've all got ladders and stairs and stuff to go between the floors, which is fine. But outside of Eagle's Tower, I think it is, with the little what's it called? You have to break the pillars and knock it down. And I'm thinking of Link's Awakening. That's why I'm feeling a bit confused. Outside of that, however, there's not really much thought into what's above and below you. There's that one tower where you fight the snake dude whose name begins with M, but I can't remember. And he, you know, you have to go up and down a bit for him, which is fine. I just realised there's actually loads that I haven't done here. But I haven't got a Zora tune. But I can get one. I can also go give in the claim check. Ooh. Super. Yeah, so that, you know, the verticality, I'm sure you can agree, just feels a bit reduced in that style of game. And on the whole, a lot of the dungeon layouts, they have to be kind of room by room challenges, because if you make them bigger, it's a lot harder to conceptualize the world around you when you're having to work out what, you know, how it all kind of fits together. Oh, I thought you had the Zora tunic. Guess I was wrong. I know I've seen the Zora tunic somewhere. It must be in Kakariko. Yeah, so like, you know, this place in 3D is easy to put together in your head because you physically go from place to place. It's continuous. And in a 2D world, you just couldn't have that. I couldn't have this sort of like these stairs that go to the next section, because it wouldn't work out. You know, you'd have to reload something, otherwise it would just get messy from a map point of view as well. Like, you could, I suppose you could have a simple line of code that works out if you're on floor A or floor B define objects A and objects B, but it wouldn't flow well at all, and it wouldn't make it any easier to understand, and I think it actually removes some of the little verticality that we actually have. Yeah, we'll save. Oh, he's not even the one you give the claim check to. You buy from this one, don't you? Did I already buy from him? Oh, my bad. So we need to go to Death Mountain and then Kakariko Village. I think, yeah, that's it. We'll put in the claim check. And we'll go to Kakariko Village where we can hopefully buy the Zora tunic. And that should be good. Maybe. There's lots of maybes in this. And I'm also an idiot because I can't go this way without the Megaton hammer. What's down here? I can't remember what's down there. Can you make that jump? Yeah. Oh, you can. That'll do. Okay, cool. That's good news, because I was kind of worrying that I was going to have to go all the way to the top and all the way to the bottom. Shush, Navi. I'm sure she's going to tell me all about how I should go to the forest. Oh, no, she'll probably tell me to go to Kakariko, actually. Did I visit the fairy as an adult? I don't remember. We'll go do it anyway. It's not going to hurt. Oh, we're up here. She does not care for my claim check. No, already done it as an adult. Cool. Cool. So we'll go to this dude here. I always worry that he's going to like slip and fall. It's a very small platform that he's on, and he's standing up and stuff. Oh, magic. It's handy, but I can't think of what it does. I mean, yeah, I've got Din's Fire, but I can't think of actually... Oh, I like these fire arrows now, I suppose. I'm struggling to think of... You know, it's good, but I can't think of why it's good. If I'm honest. Dodongo's Cavern. That's where the Spirit Temple was. Tick. I completely lost my thought again going into this. But I hope I've kind of given some sort of decent-ish explanation as to what I think about like 2D and 3D kind of bring. I feel like, yeah, the combat can just be a lot more aggressive in a 2D game. You know, you can... Oh, I don't even know if that's true either, to be honest. I don't know, I think combat's a whole different thing. Yay! Now we can do water things. Which is good. But what does that mean? Okay, so there's the Grotto and Hyrule Field we'll go and do. And there's also, obviously, like I said, the Water Temple, bottom of that big lake thing. Super. Cool. Right, well, I've completely given up on trying to talk about 2D and 3D Metroidvania games, so I'm going to head to this grotto. And then I think I'll go and take a rest and try and reset myself a little bit. Again, I can only apologise for the tangents, the rambles and everything. Like I said from episode 1, this has no scripting in it, there's no planning, it's just... I wanted to talk about Metroidvanias a little bit, and I thought it'd be fun to play a randomizer. Did not consider just how difficult, even though I know this game very well, I did not realise just how difficult talking about both of them at the same time was going to be. I just not good at multitasking, and this is definitely proving that. There is that grotto over here somewhere, isn't it? So where was the water temple in Ice Cavern? What was in Gerudo's training ground? Oh, maybe this is not where the grotto was. Find this stupid grotto. I'm never going to find it again, am I? It's going to be one of those things. I know there's the one over on this little island. Is it that one? Oh, I've still got the claim check. How does that work out? That's weird. Does that happen in the base game? Where you give the big Goron sword over and you keep the claim check? And I've just never noticed before. Oh, it's just, that's a fairy fountain. That is not the grotto I was looking for. Where is this grotto? I'm sure it was over here somewhere. It's not going to be one of those stupid hidden ones, is it? Where I've got to bomb random trees. I've got the Shard of Agony, so... Whatever happened to the postman in this game? Who knows? I mean, like, you know, in this game he just kind of runs around a bit. In Majora's Mask, he has a bigger involvement. It's going to be that you have to bomb a tree, isn't it? Oh, I hate this stuff. See, this is a problem that persists in both 2D and 3D Metroidvanias, you know, sticking on topic, is random hidden stuff that has no reason to be hidden, or no clue that it's there. Like, this tree is the exact same asset as those trees over there. So if I have to bomb near this tree to find a secret hole... Yeah, look at that. How ridiculous is that? There's just nothing that would have told you that it was there. I only knew it was there because of going through this before. Bet there's not even anything good down here, is there? There's arrows. Are you kidding me? Awesome. 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 If it wasn't clear, I don't think that's awesome. What else did the... So it's only really the ice cavern now that I can think of that I need to go and use my iron boots on. We'll grab what's at the bottom there, and then we'll call it a day for the time being. What's the fastest way there? Do you reckon? Oh, the magic pots that drop are purple. That was cool. Oh, I might have overexerted Epona a little bit there. Soz. Forgive me, Epona. But yeah, then we could, what we'll do actually, we'll go and get this thing off the bottom of the lake. Assuming I bet I've done it already as well, or I've looked at it already or something. And then we'll head into the water temple. We'll do a couple of bits and bobs around there. We'll go and be a kid again, and we'll double check the fairy fountain in the desert because I can't remember if I did that or not. And then yeah, we'll do that. We will fairy fountain desert. Then we'll go to the spirit temple and we'll see what we can get done in there. I'm really not sure how much we can do without the boomerang. But I'm sure we can do more than just running around pointlessly, as we are now. Jump up here. Super. But yeah, I mean, when it comes to 2D and 3D Metroidvanias, I'm trying to stay on topic. I vary very much as to what I prefer. You know, I always used to think that for story engagement purposes, 3D was better because you could tell these epic adventure quests like most of the Zelda series do, like Darksiders does. But then I played Hollow Knight and it kind of changed my perspective on that a little bit. And Hollow Knight actually encouraged me to go back and play the original Metroid games again. And sort of, because you have to understand, when I first played them I was very young. You know, like I said, one of the first games I ever played was actually Metroid 2 on the Game Boy original. So it doesn't, like, it was a long time ago, and maybe I was too young to appreciate or understand what was going on in those games, maybe. But obviously now I'm a bit older and I can go back and experience those storylines, and you have to give them a little bit of credit because they are older games, for definite. You know, they're not new games, are they? So you do have to consider that a little bit when you consider the storylines and stuff. But I mean, Ocarina of Time is an old game, and it has a pretty decent, like cohesive story that you can at least understand. I'm not going to try and say it's a good story, I'm just going to say it's cohesive and leave it at that. But what's it called? Yeah, the Metroid 2 on the Game Boy, I've gone back to it, still don't know what the storyline is, couldn't tell you if you asked me. If you look at, for example, Oh, it's a piece of heart. It's actually what it's supposed to be. It's so annoying. If you look back at, of course, the proper... the original Metroid game, sorry. Again, I don't really think it has a particularly decent storyline, if I'm honest. And so I kind of had this opinion in my head anyway that 3D games were better for story purposes and 2D games were better for platforming. But yeah, then like I said, Hollow Knight, however, has a really strong storyline and progression of story and such, and I appreciate that it's not everyone's cup of tea in the way that you have to discover the story. You know, it's just not. Oh my lord, come on man, just stop being terrible. This is not difficult. It's not even the right way. Oh dearie me, oh dearie me. Wait, have I done this fairy as an adult? I don't remember. Let's go find out before I go into this temple. Yeah, so, you know, I'm still slightly leaning to the idea that 3D games are better storytelling games. But that might just be, like I say, confirmation bias of what I've played and what I haven't played. So, you know, I'm not gonna try and comment either way too much. Now, she gave me a sword when I was a kid, so she better give me something good. Maybe. Nope, I've already done her. Okay. Cool. Well, this ended up being a horrendously long episode of way more rambling than usual, so I am sorry about that. In my defense, you were pre-warned. I did make it very clear. But I've really enjoyed making this series. I appreciate, you know, like I keep saying, it has just been a complete rambling mess for parts of it. And I think the most cohesive episode was actually the one where I just focused on the gameplay, but that was kind of, I didn't really want to do that. I didn't want to just be yet another Let's Play sort of person here. Not that I'm against Let's Plays, I love Let's Plays. I just mean that, you know, there's so many Let's Plays of these sort of things, you know, and I just kind of wanted to do something different, and I guess it didn't work out too well because I can't multitask at all. But hey ho, we'll go into the water temple, and I'll try and multitask some more next time. I'll see you later, guys.